I'd like to tempt you beyond the mat to have a little bit of discussion. So welcome. And we're looking at, there is this international phenomenon of modern postural yoga. So it's obviously started in India. Thanks to India, they needed, they blended their own indigenous, I hesitate to say the word fitness, but their own indigenous body culture with the modern kind of athletic worldwide fitness trends in the 20s and 30s. And out of the Mysore Palace came a gentleman named Mr. Krishnamacharya. And he was one of three, but the main that's known worldwide for popularizing Hatha Yoga. And his student was on the book that I just held up was Mr. Iyengar, who literally wrote the book about yoga, and it became a worldwide phenomenon where people could see this system of physical literacy where you can learn to move all parts of your body to your advantage, whether it goes to some of the extreme postures or just for health and fitness. So that's where I come in, because I've never been to India. It's on my bucket list. I'm absolutely fascinated, but I'm from the international phenomenon where information flows to India and then back to what people do with it in Europe, and then what people in India look at what people did in Europe, and maybe they shift their techniques. So it's always evolving and changing and shifting, but really this is the core that I'm interested in is from Mr. Iyengar and the Mysore Palace from the 1920s and 30s, because this is where this modern phenomenon really blossomed, and it's spread worldwide, because now we have, you know, a yoga studio probably on every corner, and now on the internet, on Zoom. I mean, I attend yoga in the States online with my teacher. So it's amazing to me that practices like the modern phenomena is from the 1920s and 30s, but people have been doing yoga in India for thousands of years, and with different variations on the meaning of that word. They've been doing yogas as rituals, as devotions, as union with Supreme Spirit, as like there's so many ways you can define that. So as we're doing our yoga postures on our mat, there's a lot going on because we're physically practicing, but the incentive that is behind it is really exploring the subjective, which is you're having your own experience, the teacher is leading you, but you shouldn't be doing just like a Simon Says on the mat. It's not like children doing, oh, sit like this, crisscross applesauce, where you cross your legs in Sukhasana. Yes, the form looks the same, but the teachers are there to guide you traditionally to explore your own experience and learn to self-observe and go within the physical body, because the Indian concept from yogic concept of the body is, or the human being, is having layers of self, the koshas. So we think of the outer body like the bark, and then all those rings that you see going inward and inward are different layers of our humanity. And so this is not layers that we can like dissect on the medical, in the medical field with our scalpel and see the different layers of skin and epidermis or whatever, but it's more on an experiential level. Okay, so the outside body, we all know our outside body, our skin, our bones. The traditional body is made of food. And this is the Annamaya Kosha. So this is what we move on our mat, or today we're going to move on our chair, but this experiential learning through postures and stretching and personal and alignment. And this is where it gets the fitness aspect, but it can also be looked at just as self-care. There's many aspects of self-care: brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, hygiene, preventive maintenance by, going to the doctor, and traditional things. But experiential learning on your mat or on your chair, on your cushion, is where you're learning to self-observe the body in the different postures and how you feel, and trying to align with the physical aspect of the pose. As if in Hero, you might feel heroic as you lunge down like a fencer and extend your arms like you're holding a sword. Or you might feel like a tree when you're in tree pose. This is the whole idea, that perhaps you'll feel rooted. You'll place your feet on the ground and be so steady, like the willow tree, and the rest of your body just lifts up. Your whole upper body and your arms lift up, even though you're bouncing on one leg, and the winds come and you're just flexible and rooted and comfortable in yourself, no matter what happens. And this is the tree pose. Like, I can't say I feel that way every time I do a tree pose, but it's the idea that you can get a little bit more out of it than just, as Simon says, or look in the mirror type of body consciousness. Yoga is about expanding the inner awareness, the kinesthetic awareness within ourselves and within our body. And so that branches out into our emotions, into our, our feelings, our mind, our thoughts. So further, going in a little bit more and more. So we would go to increasingly subtle levels. So we would start on the outside with the body, self-care, touching the toes, stretching the quadriceps, going in push-up position, these type of big muscle, big body work. A more subtle connection with the inner kosha is the breath, and even more subtle, the mind. And some systems say there's 4 koshas, some systems say there's 7. So I put ... but leading to the core of, experiential core of the person, of the human person, the inner self. And notice that the self is capitalized. So we're not talking about, our self like being self-conscious, like, how do I look in my clothes? How do I look in these jeans, or whatever? It's the kinesthetic awareness within our body, where we put the spotlight of our consciousness, of our conscious awareness, on our muscles, our bones, our breath, and then our feelings, thoughts, and then maybe perhaps even deeper, the consciousness that underlies all of this. And I just have a little quote here, not from the yoga tradition, but really beautifully said, that these ideas are not, they're said differently in different traditions. But the search for the inner self is a worldwide pursuit for seekers. So within us lies something incomparably more precious than what we see outside ourselves. And let's not imagine that we are hollow inside. So what's on the inside? It's a great question. We'll keep probing inward, and then we're going to keep all this in mind when we move our body, right? Yeah, was the vitality kosha. So as we're going body, more subtle is breath. And so we have breath awareness practices called pranayama. So prana meaning like energy, or life energy, or chi. There's different words of this from different traditions. And yama meaning observance or practice or restraint. So it literally means exercises we do with the breath. So this is part of yogic practice, is pranayama. And it can be done at the same time with moving the physical body, or as a practice on itself, seated on your asana, your cushion, your chair, seated and immobile, to lead you towards the next level of observing the mind. And the next level would be the vijnana, no, excuse me, no, the mental emotional kosha. So awareness, just gaining awareness of our thoughts and our feelings and using the biofeedback from our own senses, pausing to check in and noticing our internal weather. Because the mind is really, I mean, in my observation and in many other traditions as well, it's wired to be in a flow state. It loves to be in a flow. That's why you can eat. You start with one chip and then 2 seconds later, the bag is empty. Personal experience. You just get into a delightful flow state and it's really hard to pause and step back. If you look at your animal, your pet, your cat or dog, like they have no witnessing ability to themselves. They can't be self-conscious. The dog is always in his flow state of being a dog. He eats and sleeps and drinks his water and chases the cat. Like there's no pausing to remove himself from his dogness, if you say, or the cat from the catness. But with the human beings, we're the only ones that, ideally we could learn to have a gap, to hit the pause button and to check in and like, okay, I've already had the 10 potato chips and now, I'm supposed to put the rest of the bag away or share it with somebody else or save it for later. And extremely easy to say and extremely difficult to catch yourself. And very common, like you may notice that scrolling on your phone or, scrolling or watching a screen, you get caught up in the story very, very quickly. And then you don't realize, oh, where's the time gone? Or, oh, I had other things to do. So the mind just gets there and it's learning to step back and to take, I call it like the check-in or hitting the pause button is extremely beneficial part of the witness of like initially learning to self-witness. And once you do that, you can start noticing your internal weather. Okay, I'm so caught up in the news and scrolling through all these dramatic things going on that maybe I've neglected my own self-care and I'm feeling lower than I should. I'm feeling less comfortable in my skin. I'm not eating well. I'm not moving my body every second day, or all these New Year's resolutions that we have that we should be doing, we would or could have, should have been doing, that are within our power to do, and yet we don't pause and check in and redirect ourselves. So that's a way to almost think of yourself as a child, where the child reaches for the candy dish and the parents 1,000 times redirect the child to have a banana, dear. You redirect and you learn to have this kind of self-witnessing, self-parenting experience with your own mind once you learn to pause and witness your own behavior. But it'll go up and down every day. Still a work in progress, but yoga offers a way to self-observe and be happier in our skin. And the next level in of the koshas is the wisdom kosha, the vijnana kosha. And so, yes, we've been checking that internal weather, we've been pausing, and then we're gaining that witness awareness, that meta awareness where, oh, am I really doing this? Did I really just watch like 10 hours of Netflix? Or I don't know, like it happens in the most mundane things. And then also self-inquiry and discernment. Well, this is beneficial for me and this is not, because you've gained your own kind of awareness in a positive way, if it can be done with non-judgment and often a sense of humor. So we all aim for the wisdom kosha, and there are many, many texts from the Indian tradition that offer incredible amounts of wisdom. I'm currently studying the Bhagavad Gita, and one of the traditional spiritual literatures of India, and incredibly inspiring and poetic, and available in many translations. And I'm going to be reading that for a long time. So it's just really inspiring and really, really beautiful. But there's many other texts to explore, but that's one of the main ones. And the other one is the Sutras of Patanjali, the Yoga Sutra. This is really the primary text that people refer to, and it's to explore the fact that yoga is a whole system of thought, and it's more than meets the eye, and it points the practices with the body and the breath. They point the way, and they also are the bridge to the inner country of the self, the wise self, the vital self, and the stability, emotional stability that can be gained from going within and doing self-inquiry. So we're going even further into the core of the human being, the heart center. One of the famous yogis of India has said that the heart is the hub of all sacred places. So go there and roam, like you're exploring and learning and experiencing. And so what was he talking about? Like, he was talking about Anandamaya Kosha, or in other sources I've read, it's the Atma Maya Kosha, the Atman. So the core of the person being the essence, the consciousness, the Atman, the hesitate to say soul, but that's another English word. Maybe maybe that's what they're referring to, but we're pointing at the Anandamaya Kosha, the core of the human being peaceful and bright and wise and peaceful. And our practices really polish the glass of that surrounds that light. And we use them to polish our outer layers, to sand down the bark on the tree, and think of it as a dirty mirror sometimes, where polishing the glass would let the light shine brighter from within the person. And we develop resilience in the face of outer challenges. And I think people of India have been doing these practices, not exactly in the modern postural form, but variations of this, hundreds, maybe even thousands of years. So their challenges, if you can imagine, like there's tigers. It's not like, we have they had all of the diseases and, wild animals and no health care and, invaders and monsoons. So their yoga practice, if it wasn't handed down through the ages, like if it wasn't effective, why would they have passed it down to their children? Just a mindless ritual, a fitness ritual? Well, you could just go jogging instead, or I don't know, do something else. But there's so much more to it. And along the path of yoga comes this connection with the peaceful center. So this peacefulness can come from connecting with this ever-present steady center via the practices. We connect with the Anandamaya Kosha. So Ananda means bliss, means joy. And that sounds really like a hard goal for most of us right now, because look around, everything is in flux and very difficult. But it's always been that way for human beings. There's always been tigers, there's always been strife. And these practices are ancient and roadworthy, like proven on the road through time. So with these repeated practices based on posture and breath and introspection and mantras and other practices, these connection, it counters suffering and leads from peace to happiness and then even to joy. Because just do yoga and you'll have bliss. It's it's not quite that simple and not that linear, and it will fluctuate day to day because you're a human being. You're not, you know, an app or an algorithm, and things A leads to B. And we human beings, we want black or white. We want causality. We want things to be a certain way. And if I do this, this is going to happen. This is going to make me feel good. And unfortunately, this duality of mind leads us to take substances that make us feel good, as opposed to exploring more natural ways to access peace and feeling good in our skin. And then, you know, maybe even joy. If you've ever danced or crossed the finish line in a race or hit a golf ball perfectly, like who's to say that that's not joy in the body? And at least you're touching joy. And if you've ever held a baby, well, this is a human without too much, how do you say, dirt on their glass, on their mirror. And when their body's at peace, you can see the bliss, you can see the like the happiness in the human being. And so we still all have that inner child, and I think that the yoga tradition can help us reach it. So on that note, I don't want to talk too much more, but so let's practice. If that gives you an idea of kind of an introduction to the inner world of yoga in not so many words. So let's jump into a practice where we mentioned the pranayama being the breath restraint or the breath control. So usually we use our big muscles doing sun salutation. We can get to that too, but I would just like to introduce the first step of pranayama being the ujjayi breath, where the first thing is to be aware of the breath, and then we'll add the movement to it. Because once we're moving, we get in that flow state, the breath is lost really quickly. So the idea that the breath, it's always there, it's your faithful companion, but it's completely on the back burner. It's almost mindless now. And you notice when it's not there, but you don't notice when it is there. So please take a seat. Plant your sit bones on your chair or cushion and rise up to your full height as you inhale, as if pulling a beautiful golden marionette string right through the crown of your head, so that your spine is erect, but not tense, but tall. And as you breathe out, keep that height. We tend to, as we breathe out, to like let the posture collapse. So shoulders up and back, tall spine, breathe through the crown of the head. As you exhale, just keep the height nice and tall. And you can place your hands just comfortably on your lap. Have your feet square on the floor for stability. And then you can soften your gaze. And there's no real mirror to look at. There's no, it's not ballet where someone's going to correct you. It's not right or wrong. But it's just to soften your gaze and be aware of your throat muscles. I mean, we're aware of our biceps and thighs and glutes and things like that, but to be aware of the throat muscles and the epiglottis, the muscles back there. The easiest way to explain it is when you fog a mirror or you go to clean your glasses, like you clean them, just be aware as you breathe out that you close the guttural muscles back there. And then as you inhale, try to do it through your nose. I mean, you learn through your mouth, but ideally to breathe through the nose with those muscles just engaged. And makes a little sound, almost like a sound of a seashell when you hold it up to your ear. But as you inhale, through your mouth, through your nose, a nice deep inhale. Hear the little sound as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, it's easier. So you imagine that this is the waves lapping on the shore, something in nature that just vibrates. Try it again. Breathe in. And then out. So it can be like a soft hiss or even a sigh where you're becoming less rooted in the outer and just drawn in as your diaphragm descends with the inhale. Imagine it. Pulling full drink of air right into your abdomen, and then the diaphragm releases, pressing the water, the air up and out through your lips or nose with a slight hiss. Feel it go in, cool. Feel it as the air runs over your lips or within your nostrils, and out. Feel it warmed by your inner heat. Last one, breathe in, out. Great. Now, keeping that idea, let's move to the body a little bit more directly. Imagining a 3-part breath of your diaphragm and your lower abdominal area, the mid-chest, and then the upper chest. I have a little prop here, which I'll show you, which I keep for this reason, is that we imagine to have a full lung capacity. Imagine that there's 2. This is not an anatomical model, but that we don't usually breathe from the lower aspect of the lungs. We tend to breathe rather shallowly. Most people who are breathing not consciously, and so you're not getting an optimal breath. And this is breathing in the higher lungs is linked somewhat to more anxious breathing. Deep breathing, use the big lobes of the bottom lungs. So let's identify that by putting our hands over our navel. You can just feel and relaxing the abdomen. And then as you do your deep breath in, allow the stomach to come out in towards your hand. And as you do your exhale, allow the abdominal wall to go towards the spine. We'll breathe in. Feel it expand the bottom of the vase. Breathe out. You can even put one hand in front and one hand in back if you wish. Really fill that vase with a deeper breath. Put the spotlight of your awareness softly right deep in your core. Breathe in deep and out long, making that sweet sigh, sweet release. And then let's imagine breathing in the other dimension, side to side. So locate your ribs and place your hands on either side of your rib cage. You can feel just on the bones there. And an idea is that you can feel it in thumbs and place your fingertips together. And as you breathe in, the ribs should spread apart if you feel it. And then exhale, they deflate. So I'll let you experiment with that a little bit just to get the kinesthetic feeling, that to move with the breath. Breathe in. The ribs are not locked in place. They're really flexible. And breathe out. So we're breathing to the side of that beautiful vase that we had. Really expanding it side to side. Wide base. And out. Fingertips touching. Inhale, spread your wings, spread your ribs apart. And then out long. Allow the ribs to deflate, always keeping the height, keeping the spine tall. One more time, breathe in. Exhale. And just release your arms. Shake them off. Have a little relaxation. And we're moving up the core, up the lungs, towards the upper chest. So the same idea, but this time right up by the notch. Maybe you can put your thumbs in your underarms. You can just touch your fingertips. Breathe in, starting with the base, filling the base of the jar, filling up the top of the rib cage, fingers come apart, releasing the air, releasing the rib cage back down. If at any time you feel that you're overdoing it or getting dizzy or over breathing, just go back to your own rhythm. Breathe in. It's an awareness exercise. It's not a, like a weightlifting exercise with a lot of effort. So breathe in, spread the rib cage, open the fingertips, breathe out. Let the fingertips come back. And now release the arms. You can place them in your lap or at your side. And now do it. We did it with the physical cueing. Now to try it just with the mental cueing. So breathe in the base of your lungs up to your navel, bottom. Pause. Breathe in from navel to the heart. Spread those ribs. Pause. And from heart, right up to the top, the base of the neck. And then the opposite. Let it out of the top. Pour it out of the vase. Pour it out of the top, middle, back to base. Inhale to the navel, from the pelvic floor right to the navel. Really feeling it on the inside. Navel to heart. Feel it in the ribs. From heart to sternal notch. Top off that beautiful vase full of oxygen. And then release ever so slowly. Let it pour out of you, out of your nostrils. Let the warm air come out of your lips. Just release it. One more time. Pelvic floor to navel. Navel to heart. Heart to sternum. Right up. And release from top to bottom. Getting out any. And release it all. Come back to center. And then just breathe at your own pace for a minute or two without expectations or a rhythm or counting or anything. Just go back to your normal pattern. We can incorporate this breathing pattern when we're moving our body but it's really hard to do the first day. The idea that you're taking full breaths like this as you're moving through the asana, whether you're doing downward dog on your mat or Dvanarasana, the big wheel, the big bridge or boat, being able to really use the resource of your body to really oxygenate yourself and hold the pose in a forceful way. Sometimes that's needed to do for some of the more difficult ones like handstand or bridge or Dvanarasana. So the idea that breath, when I learned that, it made the things I could do so much easier and less effortful, and just being in a better flow state. So I'm happy to teach. Hopefully you can carry that into your own practice at whatever level that you're doing in terms of your physical practice, or even for running or jogging or other types of exercise. It's all good. So let's bring our hands in Anjali Mudra and place them to the heart, keeping in mind that we're excellently mindful breathers now. But let's just go through a seated sun salutation. I'm just going to move the camera out a little bit and modified for the chair. So we're not doing the big muscular things on the mat, but the idea that we're keeping a toe in the inner water as we move our body. So inhale up, reach up, Surya Namaskar, reaching for the sun. Exhale, fold forward. And inhale, flat back. You can just prop yourself up on your knees, leaning forward a little bit, and just extend right through the crown of your head. Sit bones anchored on the chair, keeping yourself nice and tall. Then fold again. Let the air out of your abdomen and go right down as comfortable. You can go right down onto your thighs. That's excellent, but not required. Just go at your own pace, please, and your own range of motion. Then inhale, come as if you're into plank. Exhale, slowly lower your arms as if you're going into chaturanga. Really engage the big muscles hugging behind your heart. Big shoulder muscles, big rhomboids. Inhale, arch the back, breathe right into the upper chest. Exhale, round. And pulse there a few minutes. Just inhale, arch. Exhale, round your back like a cat. Just move with it. Inhale. You can pull back on your knees to have a little bit more arch. And exhale, press your palms into your knees. Really round the back. Then inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, fold forward. If you want to place your hands on the floor, that's fine. Or just rest your hands on your shins. Inhale, extend the spine straight as you can, just slightly off vertical. Exhale, fold towards the earth. Being very aware of where you are in space. And then inhale, full inhale with your arms. Full diaphragm descend. The diaphragm goes down as the arms go up right to the sun. Exhale, ever so slowly. Come back to the heart and pause there. And connect your thumbs right on your sternum, and even press into the sternum a little bit, like feel that connection, and use it to anchor yourself and draw your shoulders back and keep that height, because we especially hunch over computers a lot now. So deep breath in. Really feel the air expand right under that sternum. Let it out. Drop your hands as if you're serving tea in front. Inhale, keeping your elbows tucked into your ribs. Open the chest wall as you serve tea to either side of you. Really having the scapula move behind your heart, opening the chest wall for that beautiful deep breath. Exhale, bring it back to center. Inhale, open the chest wall. Don't let the elbows out. And then release. You can cross the midline and place one hand on the opposite knee. Draw yourself back. As you inhale, tall through the spine. Exhale, do a half turn. Look over your back shoulder. You can add a little bit of torque by pressing on your knee, as long as the sit bones are well anchored in the chair or on the cushion. Just have a good breath. Come on back, unwind to center. Inhale, full height first, then exhale as the air leaves your abdomen. Go a little bit deeper into the turn. Okay. Turn to look over the back shoulder. Hold the pose. Come on back to center. Let's see if doing it a second time, if you can get 1 millimeter more torque, more twist in your twisting sage. Starting with the breath, inhale tall. Exhale, cross the midline and look over the back shoulder. Inhale back to center. Recover, center yourself. Other side. Inhale first. Right up. Exhale, let it out. Going down, emptying out the pitcher. Provide a little bit of leverage with this arm as you look over the back shoulder. Good torque to the back and the neck. And back to center. And you can give yourself like a little push, but not to the point of being discomfort. It should be effortful and you should feel a stretch, but like a 2 on 10 effort. How about that? Like a 20% effort, so that your body feels it. It's more to have the experiential learning and the kinesthetic awareness in your body than to like, work the muscles. It's not that kind of exercise. So let's bring our hands together. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, fold. Come on down. If you're comfortable to rest your abdomen right on your tops of your thighs, that's great. If not, brace yourself with your hands. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold a little bit deeper. This time you can even let your neck hang down between your knees if that's something comfortable for you and you have no issues. Just to let the muscles in the neck release down with gravity in a safe way. Inhale up. Hands in front. Exhale, draw them right behind you as if you're doing chaturanga. Place them on the sides of the chair or on your lap. Inhale, arch back. Exhale, round your back like a cap. Inhale, arch. Remembering the breath technique, filling the bottom right to the top. And then exhaling from top, finally to bottom. As your back rounds like a cat, the navel really compresses towards the spine. You have a Nice hug of the abdomen muscles. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale one more time. Exhale, round the back. Inhale. Extend right through the crown. Exhale, fold. Inhale. Flat back, support yourself on your knees and just press into your knees, and as if somebody's pulling up on your ears and the whole spine is extending. Exhale, fold. Again, let the head go right down, dangle between your knees. If that's something you can do without stress. If not, just use your arms to keep yourself at a comfortable level. You be the judge. You use your discernment, please. Spend a moment or two there if you can relax the muscles and let the head dangle and feel the big trapezius muscles and feel no weight on the spine and the head like a bowling ball, just really releasing the muscular tension that we all hold there, whether you're driving a car or driving a computer. You're gripping and hunching over our duties a lot lately. So leave it go. Exhale, breathe it out. Slowly inhale and draw yourself up ever so slowly. Draw yourself back up to seated slowly so you don't lose your equilibrium. And then keep inhaling right up by the ears. Root those shoulders down into their sockets and extend the triceps right so the energy goes right up through the fingertips, pointing right at the sun. And next exhale, bring your palms together. Slowly bring it down to the heart level. Just pause there. I'm going to chant the syllable Om 3 times, followed by Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om and the peace mantra. So feel free to chant along or to think it in your head or to say your own words. That's in your head. That's fine, and we don't put anyone on the camera. So breathe out. Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May there be peace in me, peace in you, and peace in the forces that act upon us. Namaste. Thank you for joining us for our first inaugural session of yoga off the mat, spiritual life, McGill spiritual life yoga. So thank you very much. My name's Milda, and please feel free to join next number of following Tuesdays at the same time from 6 to 7 going to continue to explore different facets of yoga tradition, to try some different varieties of mantras, chakra, learn about the chakras, maybe even explore some dharanas. So kind of exercise, like practices, exercises, but not physical exercises like fitness, but practical exercises, practices from, I have a beautiful 8th century text that has really accessible practices for modern people, though it was written, 1200 years ago. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be in McGill a long time studying these things, because it's really, really wonderful to bring them to life and to share them with people. And so it's not just books on my shelf. So you're very welcome to join back each week and see what we can do together.